Hello, welcome to Quiz Time. I'm Jess and I'm here to host 50 questions on the 1960s. So, are you ready? Let's see how you do. Which of these worldly renowned guitar players performed at Woodstock in 1969? Eric Clapton, Rory Gallagher or Carlos Santana? Carlos Santana. In 1966, the movie director Sergio Leone crowned his career with which movie? The Magnificent Seven, The Wild Bunch or The Good, the Bad and the Ugly? The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Born as Herbert Ernst, which famous politician became West Germany's Chancellor in 1969? Willy Brandt, Konrad Adenauer or Walter Ulbricht? Willy Brandt. In 1963, Harvey Ross Ball drew something that we often see even today. What is it? The Nike logo, smiley face, or the modern Coca-Cola sticker? The smiley face. In which city did Martin Luther King Jr. hold the famous I Have a Dream speech? Chicago, Washington or Atlanta? It was Washington. A legendary footballer, George Best played for what national team? Northern Ireland, Scotland or Republic of Ireland? Northern Ireland. Which iconic band released their debut album in 1963 called Please Please Me? The Who, The Beatles or Rolling Stones? The Beatles. When did Cassius Clay, later known as Muhammad Ali, win his first world champion title? 1963, 1964 or 1965? 1964. Which country was invaded by Warsaw Pact forces in 1968 due to its attempts at liberalisation? Poland, Yugoslavia or Czechoslovakia? Czechoslovakia. England won its first ever FIFA World Cup in '66. Who did they play in the final? Brazil, West Germany or Soviet Union? West Germany. Completed in 1962, the Mont Blanc Tunnel was designed to connect France and Spain, France and Switzerland or France and Italy? France and Italy. The revolutionary Ernesto Che Guevara was killed in which country in '67? Cuba, Bolivia or Venezuela? Bolivia. The Soviet cosmonaut Valentina Tereshkova was sent to space in 1963, 1968 or 1964? 1963. For starring in which movie did Sidney Poitier win the Best Actor award in '64? Sons and Lovers, Lilies of the Field or The Mark? It's Lilies of the Field. On the 15th of January, which was the first ever Super Bowl played? 1966, 1964 or 1967? 1967. Which of these gadgets listed below was developed in the early 1960s? The handheld calculator, the digital watch or the floppy disk? The handheld calculator. Which country's government exiled Constantine II, its last ruling monarch, in 67? Italy, Romania, or Greece? It was Greece. What famous luxury sports car manufacturer was founded in 1963? Bentley, Lamborghini, or Maserati? Lamborghini. In 1965, the British government banned the advertising of one item on TV. What was it? Cigarettes, vodka, or bikinis? Cigarettes. In 1960, Madagascar was finally free of colonial rule and got independent from Portugal, the United Kingdom, or France? It was France. Which iconic sci-fi TV show was released in 1966 for the first time? The Twilight Zone, Star Trek, or Battlestar Galactica? Star Trek. Which famous hero made his first comic book appearance in 1962? Spider-Man, Captain America, or Deadpool? Spider-Man. What band released a blockbuster song, Surfin' in the USA, in 1963? The Animals, Bee Gees, or the Beach Boys? It's the Beach Boys. When did the FDA approve the birth control pill for the first time in history? 1960, 1962, or 1967? 1960. In 1969, Spanish dictator Francisco Franco approved the royalty as their heir. Who was it? Prince Juan Carlos, Prince Manuel de Bourbon, or Prince Ferdinand VI? Prince Juan Carlos. Portuguese football icon Eusebio won the 1961-62 European Cup as a member of which team? Benfica. Filmed in 1968, 2001: A Space Odyssey was a blockbuster based on a short story by Arthur C. Clarke, Isaac Asimov, or H.G. Wells? Arthur C. Clarke. When did the Sino-Indian War, a conflict that threatened to reshape Asia, start? 1965, 1968, or 1962? 1962. True or false? Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who assassinated John F. Kennedy, was shot while being escorted by the police. It's true, a man named Jack Ruby shot him from close range. In 1963, Edward Craven Walker invented something that gained huge popularity in the 60s. What was it? Glass fish tank, hippie dress, or lava lamp? Lava lamp. Have you got one? Did you have one? John Astin and Carolyn Jones starred in which 1960s famous TV show? Gilligan's Island, The Addams Family, or The Beverly Hillbillies? The Addams Family. In 1963, brothers Ray and Dave Davis formed which popular rock band? The Who, The Kinks, or The Monkees? It was The Kinks. Willie Mays, an MLB legend, spent the 1960s playing for which franchise? Cincinnati Reds, St. Louis Cardinals, or San Francisco Giants? San Francisco Giants. The Summer of Love was a social phenomenon and hippie gathering that happened in 1967 in what city? Los Angeles, Portland, or San Francisco? San Francisco. What was the name of the secret police that operated within East Germany? The NVA, the Stasi, or the Bundespolizei? The Stasi. Which iconic artist created the painting Campbell's Soup Cans in 1962? Andy Warhol, Donald Judd, or Sol LeWitt? Andy Warhol. Speaking of Andy Warhol, what was the name of his popular studio that also served as a gathering place for artists in New York City? It was The Factory. In 1961, the CIA tried to stage an uprising in the Bay of Pigs and topple the government of which country? Colombia, Cuba, or Cambodia? Cuba. Who said the famous words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind"? Buzz Aldrin, John Glenn, or Neil Armstrong? Of course, it was Neil Armstrong when landing on the moon. In 1968, the director Roman Polanski created which horror masterpiece? Rosemary's Baby, The Haunting, or The Night of the Living Dead? Rosemary's Baby. In which Asian city was the 1964 Summer Olympics officially held? Seoul, Tokyo, or Hong Kong? It was Tokyo. The Alcatraz, the United States' most notorious prison, was closed in 66, 63, or 61? 1963. The Republic of Upper Volta, which gained independence from France in 1960, is now known as Burkina Faso, Swaziland, or Côte d'Ivoire. Burkina Faso. True or false, Pol Pot, the leader of the Khmer Rouge, seized power in 1968, thus placing Cambodia under his thumb? It's false. Although politically active in the 60s, he seized power in 75. In 1969, the Concorde broke the sound barrier. Which two countries participated in its creation? The UK and US, US and France, or UK and France? It's the UK and France. Before playing for Led Zeppelin, Jimmy Page was a member of which 1960s band? The Yardbirds, the Zombies, or the Velvet Underground? The Yardbirds. In which sport was Jim Clark a two-time world champion during the 60s? Horse racing, Formula One, or motorcycle racing? Formula One. The lawyer Atticus Finch, portrayed by Gregory Peck, is a character from which movie? To Kill a Mockingbird, The Innocents, or A Hard Day's Night? To Kill a Mockingbird. Set in the Middle East, what was the name of the short war that happened in 1967? The Desert Blitz, the Suez Crisis, or the Six-Day War? The Six-Day War. And your last one coming up. When did the American Postal Service officially implement the zip code? 1960, 1963, or 1965? 1963. So, how did you do on the 1960s? Drop your score in the comments below, and of course like and subscribe so you get notified every time we post a new quiz. And join us next time on Quiz Time.